the fuck does that mean?
That's a question my friend had when she saw this animatic. But it looked more like, OMG, this looks so cool! I want to know everything about these characters! Yet, she still didn't listen to my 30 minutes long voice message. No judgment, by the way. To set the record straight, my name is Bardcore, my pronouns are they, them, I do art and storytelling.
I also DM for my friends. Wink wink.
And today you are going to listen to my autistic yapping about me and my bestie thing. So...
On the land called Louie, small creatures lived. So small, they could fit in the palm of your hand. They have wings, but otherwise are human enough to be feared. We will call them fairies for convenience. Fairies are believed to descend from insects by some religious scholars, while others are inclined to think of themselves as children of sun or moon. There are, of course, fairies who think, nah, that's bullshit. Trees rock, I'm a fucking tree, baby. Many ethnical groups hold beliefs that they are not the first to inhabit the land. Or how could you explain all the strange things? Who would even build something like this? For this? For you, my dear watcher, I will gladly present my own classification based on scientific knowledge. Different kinds of fairies, in fact, cannot be considered races. They do not have this term, and from biological standpoint, they are either different species or subspecies. Subspecies. Subspecies, sorry. As you can see, in this universe, centipedes are also fairies. We have ants, wasps, bees, mosquitoes, flies, fireflies, butterflies, moths, beetles, and other groups oppressed by bees. Before we move on, there is a trigger warning. Politics is a sensitive topic, and I approach it without sugarcoating, but with a bit of irony. I also heavily rely on violent and unsettling imagery in this segment. Okay, so pretty much everybody has its own interests on this fucking island. We have ants and bees, they're in conflict because ants or shangans are solar cultists. Sun is a force that moves the world for them, and they historically inhabited the eastern side of the Louie, but were forced to move west by bees invaders. It was a sacred land they could die for. Both societies have matriarchal structure and are closer than they think they are. There are moths and butterflies, they also have beef. Butterflies or pelicans had done hate crimes against moths because of religion and enslaved them. But then pelicans, at least those who have lavish lifestyles, kinda moved on, because they took the face of thy neighbor, beetles, called fascism. They're like white people who think that Jesus looked not like a Jew. However, moths are still an oppressed nation to this day. The day is 1590s, by the way. And what about thy neighbors? Beetles are mostly apolitical, and they try to put bread on the table selling stuff. While mosquitoes are mainly peasants working on fields and living in small communities. I will also prefer not to talk about flies and fireflies for now. Some of them are subjects to the bee empire. Okay, now that you know a little about fairy folk, average Schengen has no clue all of this is happening around them. The community is isolated from outside world and trading. Schengen society can be divided into 3 groups: queens, concubines, and workers. Queens are supreme. They are givers of life and priestesses. All decisions are made by them, and them only. And government consists of colonies. The colonies are ruled by at least one queen, but usually there are more than 5 or 6. Animalistic heritage is more present within them. Their noses are more sensitive to scents and pheromones. They can see more shades, they attach comets, and, oversimplifying, they have yellow blood. Why do they have yellow blood? That's a great question. There is a pigment called vanillin. It turns yellow when it is oxidized, and it is found in high concentrations in beetles. Beetles and other insects do not have hemoglobin, so some tend to think that vanillin could be an oxygen carrier. But insects do not have lungs, nor a circulatory system. Instead, their tracheal system transports oxygen directly into their tissues. So I have 2 routes, isn't it? To make vanillin an oxygen carrier in our universe, or to go through the more difficult path. It would imply that Shangans have tracheal system and their organs are organized differently. It would also mean that they're not homothermic. Shangans would actually be heterothermic. Queens create strong pheromones that don't let Wookiee's reproductive system to develop if they have ovaries and or uterus. The pregnancies last for approximately 4 months. And it is also very common for Shangans to have twins with different fathers. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed the part 1. It took me like 3 months to finish this. See you next year, I guess. I have a webcomic to get back to. Nevertheless, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. If you liked the video, you can leave a comment or share it with your friends. So long.